Hello, and welcome to the Emmy Awards. I'm your host, Emmy Cardinale, and this is my podcast where I talk about what I've been watching or rewatching once a week. If this is the first episode of mine that you stumble upon and you enjoy it, please feel free to follow me wherever you listen to podcasts so you can get notified. That's my cat Ernesto. So you can get notified when I upload episodes. I'm currently covering Big Brother 27, This Summer I Turned Pretty, Bachelor and Paradise kind of, but like not super in depth to be honest. Anyways, not that I'm covering the other shows that much in depth, but timestamps will be in the description so you can fast forward. A few disclaimers and stuff out of the way, so if you want to skip the intro, feel free to do that. The first thing I want to say is that on most podcasting apps, I do believe the timestamps are a little bit inaccurate simply because I now have monetization turned on for this podcast. I haven't received any money. It's been like less than a month since I turned it on. But because of that, the ads are like automatic and it's straight through the RSS feed, the monetization. It's not like with Spotify or with, so it's included with the actual product that the actual file that the RSS feed uploads to the different apps, distributes it, like they add the ads, so the timestamps sometimes are not super accurate. I just experienced this because I was like listening to my own podcast to do clips to promote it on TikTok and stuff, and I like the timestamps aren't super accurate, so I'm sorry about that. And also if you get an ad, that's why. It's very exciting. I haven't like received my first paycheck or anything but that's exciting. I have no idea how much, like I doubt it'll be a ton of money or anything. This is a hobby, but it is really cool that I do get to turn monetization on because I've been working on the podcast for like over 3 years now, and I dedicate a lot of time to like the prep, the recording, the editing takes me quite a bit. I do it all myself, so it is cool to be compensated at all. We'll see if it's anything at all, but I just wanted to make that disclaimer. The timestamps might not be super accurate. If you're getting ads, that's why. Other disclaimers, my last episode went out on a Wednesday, and that was like really delayed for me, and I am deeply sorry. I'm recording this Friday night, and I do think hopefully I should be able to, I was kind of releasing on Mondays more frequently than I was releasing on Sundays, which Sunday was originally my goal of release dates for the Big Brother season, because I wanted to get the episodes out before like the first episode of a new Big Brother week aired. The HOH episodes air on Sundays. However, due to the fact that I'm also covering This Summer I Turned Pretty, the episodes are sometimes over an hour and a half, close to 2 hours long, and because of that, the editing has been taking me longer. So the episodes were going out Monday, and I recorded my last episode late on last Friday, and so I was like, okay, this episode should be out Monday, maybe Tuesday at the latest, but the reason I recorded on Friday, and I didn't talk about this last week, I just said that I was like going through a hard time because I really didn't really want to get into it, but I do kind of want to talk about it a little bit now. And trigger warning for like animal death, I guess. I foster kittens. I've been fostering kittens for over 2 years, and I've had a few scares, but last week I picked up some kittens on Thursday. And I normally don't work Thursdays, but I did have work this Thursday. And so because of that already, normally I record on Thursdays, but I was like, I'll record. I ended up like, I had planned to record later than planned, but the foster kittens I got, they weren't in the best shape. And so I honestly, I didn't end up recording on Thursday because I was so focused on making sure that they were okay. And I went to bed, and they were struggling, but they were okay. And then I woke up, and one of them had unfortunately not made it through the night. So Friday was very difficult for me for that reason. The other 3 kittens, because I had 4 kittens, I took them to the shelter vet. They got fluids. They seemed okay. And then I came home, and they started acting weird. So I brought them back to the shelter vet, and they were like, I don't know. So, and they got transferred to a medical foster who could monitor them better because I was out of my depth with the amount of care they needed. They came in and they were underweight and fragile, but it seemed like if I just made sure that they were eating well, that they would be okay, but something else was likely wrong with them. So that was it was really hard for me because I was already stressed about them, and then one of them didn't make it, and then the rest of them started struggling. So I just like, even when I did record the podcast on Friday, honestly, and like I'm still like not super great about it. This is the first time I'm like verbally talking about it really, and I'm like getting really sad. I'm like, you know, having a lot of emotions about it. So, but the few days following, I was really having a hard time just like focusing and functioning to the best of my ability, because that was obviously a very difficult thing to go through, and like a lot of self-doubt, and like if I had been more attentive, like it was a very difficult thing to go through, not only because it was traumatizing to find an animal deceased, but also because like I don't know, the rest of them started crashing, and then I was like it was a very difficult thing to go through, and I was kind of like really not doing well after that. So even when I recorded the episode on Friday, but the few days following, I honestly like my attention span wasn't like super great, because I was honestly like, I was struggling a bit mentally because of that. So I would edit a little bit at a time, and then I would just like not be able to really focus. So it took me a lot longer to edit than normal because of that. So even though I recorded it on Friday, like I couldn't focus on editing it anyway. So that's why the episode was super late. I am recording this on Friday, but I do think in terms of like my mental state and everything, I do think I could get the episode out by Monday. So hopefully this episode won't be too delayed, but I'm sorry about that one, and apologies for the quality of the episode if it wasn't that good. It was fairly long too. It was like almost 2 hours. So in that regard, like it was like an hour and 50 minutes or something, and that was after I edited it down. So it was like a long thing to cut down as well. And anyways, so that's all my disclaimers, all the reasons that the episode was late. Hopefully I'll get back on track. But yeah, so I'm going to do what I've been doing, start with Bachelor in Paradise, then do the Summer I Turned Pretty, and then end with Big Brother 27. Sorry again for all the disclaimers and all the mess. If you've listened to this podcast, it really does mean a lot. I love doing it. It's like such a source of joy for me in moments like that. Like I'm glad that I recorded the episode when I did, because I think honestly it all happened on Friday, and I think it was a good distraction for like the 2 hours. And I think if I hadn't recorded it, then I would have like really, because the days following, I think it hit me more than like the day it happened. I feel like I was kind of in shock, and I was like numb, and I was just like really like, I don't know. Anyways, sorry. I'm really sorry to be dark, but I did want to mention that. And if anybody listens to this and they have experienced fostering kittens or something similar, any advice is welcome. Everybody, the program I volunteer with, like they were all, like everybody was super kind to me, and I know logically that it wasn't like my fault. I don't know. I've had kittens, like I think because I've been doing it for 2 years, it's like I do have data to point back to where I'm like, I have had kittens who have come to me at this weight, dehydrated, struggling, and like I did what I've done in the past, and I paid the same amount of attention to the kittens that I always do. Like it wasn't like it's just hard. And anyways, sorry. I did want to talk about that because I haven't talked about it, and I don't think I've like really fully processed it, and maybe that's not something like I don't know. I understand that this is like part of the experience of fostering and rescue and everything, and like I know that this is something that people experience. I think it's hard when it's like the first time you go through something. It's always hard. I don't know. Sorry about that. So, Bachelor in Paradise. I liked the episode. The highlights from this Bachelor in Paradise episode is basically the challenge when they went camping and they were being observed. I didn't like this. I didn't. I'm sorry. It also, like, not to sound like a surveillance expert, but I do watch Big Brother live feeds. And I feel like, not to sound like a surveillance expert, but I do watch Big Brother live feeds, and maybe this was just not clear by the editing, But I'm like, where were the cameras? How much were they actually watching? Because I'm like, were they actually watching every single person? Because it seemed there was only one doctor. I'm like, you would have missed some stuff, okay? You can't watch all the screens at the same time and take notes. Obviously, there are probably other people taking notes for you, or like, but then in that regard, then it's not just, anyways, I really didn't like this because it's like, obviously you're being watched, but it's like weird to be analyzed in the way you were. And it was just like one doctor's opinion, and I don't feel like, I'm not a relationship expert, nor am I a psychologist of any kind, but I feel like, well, there are probably universal things that are like healthy in relationships and universal things that are like, this is an unhealthy dynamic in a relationship, that somebody can look at this and be like, this is harming one person or both of them or whatever. I feel like relationships are so complex and like personal that judging somebody, I think, because it's not even about like healthy. It's like the doctor literally criticized Alex and Andrew's like chemistry. It's like she said that it seemed like they didn't have like, I want to have sex with you chemistry or something like that. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, people have different kinds of like banter and flirtiness, and I also don't think that everybody and every relationship needs to lead with a like, we're so on top of each other chemistry. And I don't think that even necessarily means that people aren't attracted to each other or that they don't have good sexual or physical chemistry. I think it's just like some people aren't that way with each other, and it, like, I don't know, I didn't enjoy it because it's like the things she talked about didn't to me indicate that they weren't attracted to each other. It's just like they're very playful people. That was just odd to me. I will say, interestingly enough, in this challenge, I have previously been very critical of Dale, and I'm not gonna like say that suddenly my critiques of him went away. But I think it's hard sometimes, and this was a good reminder for me. Sometimes it's hard when you're getting like an edited version of people's relationships to be like, why do they even like each other? Or like, what do they have in common? Or like, why? Like, I don't know. And I feel like I really understood the Dale-Kat dynamic more in this episode. And like, I saw why that like they're still going strong, because it seemed like they had like so many miscommunications. And then I really didn't like the way he was like approaching her when she was saying that he kept saying, I deaded it. And then she made a joke and he made some comment about how they had different upbringings. He really rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm still not like, I haven't forgiven him for that. I think it's really easy when you're watching a reality TV show to reduce people to like villains or heroes, or I love them or I hate them. And I feel like I try very hard. And it's very nice, honestly, with all the ups and downs of these people's stories to have, because there have been moments with like most of the people on the show so far where I, like this season on Paradise specifically, where I've been like, I really didn't like Brian in this one episode and in this one situation, but I appreciated Brian in another episode in another situation. And I had that moment with Dale where I was like, okay, Dale was like really, really rubbing me the wrong way a few episodes ago, but I actually really liked the way he approached Kat and was like gentle with her anxieties about the bugs, because I think also, and I had even seen, she went on the Vial Files, Alicia, she went on the Vial Files. I'm so sorry if I'm still pronouncing her name wrong. I don't remember what her name, I'm sorry. Anyways, Sean's partner, Alicia, she went on the Vial Files, and I did not watch the whole episode. I saw a clip, so I need to make that clear, because maybe there was context I didn't miss, or like, I don't want to act as if I know the whole picture if I'm only going based off this one clip. But based off the clip I saw, she was talking about how she didn't like Kat, and she made some kind of slight about Kat not being like outdoorsy or being like, you know, whatever with bugs and stuff. And I think, and maybe she didn't see this, whatever, but I feel like, not that I would judge somebody, because I feel like people have different comfort levels, and I don't really care. Like, it crosses the line for me when you're like, if you're like judging somebody or you think it's gross that they like being outdoors, like then it's like, okay, then it's like you're just yucking somebody's yum. But in that regard too, I wouldn't like shame somebody for their yucks or their icks or things that they don't enjoy, because it's like, we don't have to enjoy the same things as long as you're not shitting on somebody for enjoying something. Like, it's fine, you know? And watching this episode, not that I did judge Kat for it, because again, how does it impact me if Kat is like really picky and hates being outdoors and hates bugs? I also, like, maybe I just try to have some kind of level of, like, understanding for people, but it's like, that could be a lot of different reasons. People have sensory issues, and, like, it's like sometimes people really, like, it's not even like a, like, I don't know. I don't understand why we have to, like, assume the worst in people and think that people don't like bugs or being outdoors because they think they're, like, too good for that or whatever. It's like some people don't enjoy it, and why should we want people to enjoy something, like push people to do something that they don't enjoy because we somehow think it's like better. I don't know. Anyways, sorry. But she made some comment about like Kat not liking being outdoors, and I'm like, after watching this episode, and again, maybe she hadn't seen this, but I'm like, it seems like a very genuine phobia. Like, I don't think people end up in tears over bugs if it's just some kind of thing where they're like clearly like she was having a real anxious reaction to the bugs. So it's just like, I don't know. But all that to say, Dale was super nice and like very accommodating and very helpful, and like he was great with her in that situation, and I appreciated that. So it's been nice to not really have like strong negative feelings about people, even like Jeremy. And I'm sure that there are people who maybe haven't forgiven Jeremy, but even Jeremy, there were things I didn't like that he did, but I'm not like Jeremy is like the villain, or he's like there's not one person on this cast who's like really pissed me off and then they've had no moments where I've been like, well, I kind of like that. It doesn't mean that I'm like not still kind of like icked out by Brian in the moments that he treated Parisa the way he did, but it is nice and it feels more well-rounded and less like pointed and less like, and obviously it's still edited and manufactured and it's still shaping a narrative. But it does feel a lot more, like a lot less caricature-ish than Bachelor in Paradise has in the past, where it's like people are just one note. I don't feel like too many of them have been like one note. There's been like ups and downs with most of them in a way that I really appreciate as a viewer. I like having somebody who I'm like, they're really pissing me off, and then I'm like, but I like them in that moment. I don't like people being reduced to like only one side of themselves. So that's been honestly enjoyable for me to watch. But I don't know, sorry for that tangent, I don't really know how I felt about this whole thing. Even like speaking about the people liking camping or not, the relationship therapist or whatever who observed them said something about how Jeremy and Bailey maybe aren't super compatible or like aligned because he likes to go camping and that's not really her scene. And it's just like, again, I don't think it's that simple. It's like, if you hate everything that the other person enjoys doing, like you're just fundamentally completely incompatible, that would be one thing. If like somebody really likes going out every single day and you like peace and quiet, like there are obviously fundamental incompatibilities where like if somebody really enjoys doing something and they want their partner to be involved in that and the partner really hates that, then like obviously there's a clash in like compatibility. But I don't think somebody enjoying camping while the other person, that's not really their scene, means that you're like incompatible. It's like people are allowed to have their individual things that they enjoy doing that maybe their partner doesn't do. And I think like there are a lot of things that I'm not really like the biggest fan of, but if I had a partner who really enjoyed doing them, it wouldn't be like a deal breaker for me. I just wouldn't necessarily want to go all the time. Maybe I'd go every once in a while, see if I liked it. We'd find a middle ground. I don't really know, but it's like, or even things that I really enjoy doing. Like, I don't need people. I love going to flea markets and like going for long drives. I don't need the person I'm with to, I mean, if they really hated long, like they hated car rides, period, maybe that would be an issue, but it's just like, I don't need, that feels a little bit odd to me, that it's like, that doesn't mean anything to me about their relationship. Unless it was like actively, like he wanted to live somewhere remote. That was his ideal lifestyle. It was like they were always outdoors. Or like Dean from a few seasons past, who he's with Kaylin, I don't, if you know, you know, he like lived in a van and they were very like, he was like not really in one place for a while. If Kaylin had really hated that lifestyle, then like, yeah, they wouldn't work. But like, I don't know. There was something else. Like, I think he went like skydiving. I don't know if she went too. But like, let's say she didn't go. She might have gone skydiving with him. But like, what if he really liked going skydiving and she didn't want to go skydiving? That doesn't mean that they're incompatible. Again, if he lived in the van and she was like, I really don't like traveling, then yeah, that's like an incompatibility. But just like, somebody liking camping or being outdoors and the other person, that's not really their vibe. Like, to me, that's not really, like, whatever. Okay. Like, there were things like that where I was like, whatever. Dale and Kat ended up winning that challenge because they, like, overcame more, I guess. They went on a date. It was very nice. I was like, okay, Kat and Dale seem cute together. Good for them. I'm not super buying, like, there are a few relationships, and I have to say, this is not, because I know, again, in the same Biofiles interview I mentioned previously, there were allegations that feels a little bit strong, but, like, you know, that maybe Kat had a boyfriend, and, like, obviously we've seen in the previews that Sean comes back, all the eliminated players come back, and it seems like he's gonna say something about Kat being, like, a liar or manipulative or coming on the show for whatever. That aside, and maybe that's slightly influencing me, so I can't act like that just isn't a factor, because obviously this has been something been in the back of my mind since the original previews of, like, Sean throwing Kat under the bus. But genuinely, there are a few couples where I'm like, I really feel like they're still together. And Kat and Dale, I don't feel it. I don't know. There's just something for me about Kat and Dale that just doesn't feel like they're post-Paradise material, and not, like, through any fault of either of them. Anyways, so they go on the date, which is important because it's a group vote again, but kind of like in Big Brother, how if there's a tiebreaker, the HOH makes the decision. Kat and Dale had the tie-breaking decision. Jonathan and Leah are names, obviously, because they're not a romantic couple. And then Kathy and Keith are also another name. Those are the two non-romantic couples at this point. And there's not really a Parise and Brian easy scapegoat. Sean, you know, easy scapegoat of, like, somebody who's really causing trouble. So it's really between Kathy and Keith and Jonathan and Leah. And because of that, Keith begins to kind of, like, he wants to go home. And so he begins to kind of be like, send me home. But then Kathy, she doesn't want to go home. So she, like, convinces the women and the men, the non-Goldens, which is everybody, I guess, besides them, because they're the only Golden couple, to kind of talk Keith up. And he kind of, like, is like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't go home. People enjoy having me here, right? So he decides ultimately that he wants to stay. And he had originally said that he was going to vote for himself. It's a tie between Kathy and Keith and Jonathan and Leah, and Dale breaks the tie and sends Jonathan home. And I was really sad because I really liked them. I do think strategically it was a smart move because, and he even said this, like, Jonathan and Leah have won a challenge. Like, they are a better team than Kathy and Keith. They have a better chance of, like, comping out, which I did say in my last episode, of, like, if they, like, there's a chance for them, it's slim, but, like, if they win a lot of challenges, they can maybe get themselves to safety. I do think, based off of the previews, if it's some kind of, like, group vote, I think that they lose regardless, so, like, maybe it's not that big of a loss. And the next episode is the finale, so at least I don't have to go any episodes without seeing them. Like, they'll be back. I love her. She's really grown on me. Like, I'm glad that she came on Paradise. I enjoyed her a lot. And you know what it really showcases to me is that there's something really enjoyable about Paradise, because the conflict can be with the women, like on The Bachelor, when it's like they're fighting, it's like women are fighting with women. So who am I supposed to root for? Here, it's like any problem she's had has been with, like, Jonathan, or, like, you know, not that even, like, whatever. But anyways, that's besides the point. But going back very briefly, something I want to talk about, Spencer and Jess, there was, like, a little bit of tension built up with them about, like, moving in with each other, and it ended up working out. I like them. I'm rooting for them. They didn't end up winning the challenge because it was like, I was about to say Kale. Maybe that's their ship name. Kat and Dale. Why did I call her Kate? Kat and Dale, they had some hurdles to overcome, so they won, which was sweet or whatever. But, like, there was a bit of tension between Spencer and Jess, and, like, I don't know. I like the way they handled it, of, like, he has some, like, they had different plans and, like, visions and, like, timelines, I guess, that they wanted to move on, and I like the way that he was, like, respectful of hers, and it's like, you can tell that he's just really in it and he really likes her. But, like, I really need to look up, I don't have the energy to look this up now, but I'll look up their star signs later, because I'm kind of interested in like what his vibe is. I don't know. I like them. I like a lot of the couples this season. Like, I like Bailey and Jeremy. I really do. I like Bailey, and I want to root for Jeremy. And if they worked it out, then like I wish them the best. You know, like I'm not going to be praying for their downfall. Especially because I really think that while what he did was hurtful, I feel like it's so often, again, people are talking such extremes on these shows where as if people are like irredeemable or like he didn't like her at all. And it's like, you guys actually don't know that. And if she received that information and like worked through it and like they've been together post show for a while, then like you don't actually know the interworkings of their relationship because of like a very condensed version that you're getting every week when there's a lot of other couples as well. Like, you just don't know them. Anyways, so like who are you as an audience member to say that he doesn't actually like her? You don't know that in any capacity. So if they're still together and they make each other happy, then like I'm rooting for them. And they have good like chemistry and like banter, and they like, I don't know, they've been doing well in the challenges. Like, I feel like I like them together. I'm rooting for them. What can I say? And then Jess and Spencer, I also really like. Alex and Andrew are a newer couple, but I really like their energy together too. They had a moment where they kind of exchanged falling in love with yous in a really sweet way. Like, I like the couples on Paradise. It's been a good balance for me of like tension and drama and like being upset with people, but also then like seeing the good in people and also like rooting for the love story. Like, it's been a really good balance in terms of like the drama, but also like not overcoming the love, and also like adding the gameplay. The games have added to the romance and the connect. Like, it's been really, really good. This season, I've really enjoyed it. Like, I'm a fan of the new structure. And then the end of the episode, they did the second challenge. Like, it was like the rose ceremony, and then we had like still 30 minutes, maybe 15 minutes left of the episode. And they did another challenge, which I really liked this one as well. It was like there were like prompts, and you would stab like a dummy in the back of like whoever you feel like accurately represented that prompt, and then the couple. So like, if everybody stabbed Jess's dummy in the back, then like Jess and Spencer got like a point docked as a group. And then Alex and Andrew, I believe, were the couple that received the least amount, which means that they won. Maybe, I don't remember how, I will be honest, but it ended on a cliffhanger, so we like don't know who went home in the second rose ceremony. But I think like two couples were going home, so it's like stakes are high. Apparently in the next episode, it's the finale, people come back, we see the blow up that they've been teasing to between Kat and Sean. So I'm excited to see it all play out. Who do I think will win? I don't know, Jeremy and Bailey, especially if it's a fan vote. There was a lot of loyalty that the group had to Jeremy against the whole Brian thing, even when I feel like Jeremy was more in the wrong in that instance. People were more mad at Brian. So I do feel like if it's a not fan vote, oh my God, if it's a group vote, I feel like Jeremy and Bailey have like a solid chance. Spencer and Jess might be too easy of a couple. Alex and Andrew are a bit more new. And then Kat and Dale, I don't feel like, even controversy aside, I feel like they have some more doubt on their relationship. So we'll see. Maybe it's not a vote. Oh, and based on the previews, it's like you either get the love or the money. I don't like that. Like, what does that mean? I hope that's just like a fake out based off the previews. Because it's like, what does that mean? If you take, it's like, if you choose to end up together, then you don't get any money. Like, that's not even fun. At least do the, like, both people can split it or whatever, or steal. Like, okay, add some more tension, but like, that's annoying. You should get love and money, okay? Why are we picking? Why can't we have it all? But that's all I wanted to say about Bachelor in Paradise. Moving on to The Summer I Turned Pretty. Boy, this episode was a doozy. It was like jam-packed. So good, loved it. This is not a structured recap, so I'm just kind of gonna be debriefing my thoughts. But it opened up immediately. Belly is like distraught. Maybe distraught isn't the right word, but she's like hungover. emotionally, maybe also literally. In bed, there's a voice memo from Jeremiah apologizing. I'm like, he couldn't have even like written a note, stopped by her room early in the morning to apologize. Like, anyways, he was just like, sorry, my punishment is that I'm hungover. Like, at least he didn't, whatever, okay? I'm a Jeremiah hater. I've criticized him a lot. At least he didn't like make an excuse or like, and I don't know, maybe if Belly had confronted him, he would have been like annoying in the way that he is when he's confronted. I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't have been. That wasn't that bad of like an apology and acknowledgement, right? Belly and Conrad's conversation in the kitchen, dagger to my heart. Lying about being drunk, her being like, you weren't drunk, and then he was like, I'm just trying to hold on to my pride. I've seen a lot of anti-Conrad people think that this is like a horrible moment of Conrad's of like, and I don't view it that way because I think, like, I feel like that's a completely, and I understand this, okay, because I have this too, and I can acknowledge it, where Jeremiah does something, and because I have a bias against Jeremiah, he icks me out, I don't like him, I can recognize that Jeremiah does things, and I view them differently because Jeremiah did them, okay, I can acknowledge that, and maybe that's just what it is with the anti-Conrad people, because it's like, logically, it's a completely valid response when he confessed his love. Horrible timing, right? She is like, we were never anything. She's getting married to his brother. Obviously, he's going to be like, don't worry about it. Forget about it. Like, don't worry about it. Yeah, I understand why he wants to hold on to pride. Like, it's not because he doesn't love Belly or he, like, didn't mean it or he's like... And I get it. I get that he's like... I feel like it would be different. And it would be... I would view it in the same way that the anti-Conrad people view it, of like him taking his love away from her. If Belly had that morning been like, okay, Conrad, I want to be with you, and he would have been like, actually, no, that's crazy. Like, if she rejected him, obviously that's a defense mechanism. And you know what? And then he ended up not even like, it's not like he doubled down. He like, at that point, he was like, you know what? No. It hasn't been years. We've both felt it this summer, and I'm not going to pretend with you anymore. And I loved the way that Chris Briney acted this, where when he went out to the car, you could tell he was like lighter. A weight had been lifted off of his chest. He was like breathing fresh air for the first time. 6 weeks of breathing clean air. I still miss the smoke. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell that like the way he carried himself changed, of like, I'm no longer going to pretend. I loved it. It was so good. His conversation with Taylor. I loved this. I loved Conrad this episode. The way that he was just like, you know what? I love her. I love her. Taylor's like, you think she's gonna just run away with you? And he's like, yes. And then he's like, no, I don't know. I just like, but I don't know. I like the fact that he is able to be like, I love her and I know she loves me too. And that's just like, whatever. I appreciated it. I appreciated the way that the floodgates opened and he was not gonna in any way try to get that water back in. He's like, you know what? No, we're underwater now. This is the year 3000. Not much has changed, but we are underwater. I don't even know. That went in a million directions, the joke I was trying to make. Sorry. But like, you know what I mean? Like the floodgates opened and it was beautiful, beautiful. The drought was over. Rain came pouring down. Sorry. Anyways, I really liked Conrad this episode. Jeremiah, clueless as ever. Okay, also, not to jump around, I'll get back to the Belly, Jeremiah, Conrad, all of that. There's so much there. But really, really briefly, the Stephen Denise of it all is so unserious to me because there's been build-up for like a few episodes and then they kiss and it's like, I will say, and maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I actually don't hate this conclusion to their story over like he likes both but he then has to choose Taylor. Like I kind of like the removal of the love triangle dynamic between like Steven, Denise, and Taylor. I enjoyed that. Like I appreciate it. I wish it didn't take so long to get here. You know, I think that's my one critique. Like I wish there had been a bit more build up. Like there either hadn't been as much build up or like Steven and Denise, like this had happened a few episodes ago, because it's like so much build up for it to then just be like, oh, we kiss and then there's nothing. And I don't know, because I just like, where's that relationship therapist from Bachelor in Paradise to see them kissing and be like, you guys have no chemistry? I don't know. Like it felt so random to me. We needed that therapist on the scene much sooner, so Steven and Denise wouldn't have had to go back and forth for so long. I'm kidding. But I do prefer that over like, because then I feel like it would be too similar to like Belly's whole love triangle. Like they don't need to have the same experience where it's like he likes Denise and they get along well, but then he realizes really Jeremiah's biggest con is that he's not Conrad. You know, that would have been the whole Denise Taylor decision as well. Like, it just, like, there's a history there. That would be way too similar to, like, Conrad and Belly. So I'm glad that it went a different direction where it was like we actually just like don't vibe together. I will say, and this will probably like never come to fruition, and it's probably making me anxious for no solid reason. But the fact that they threw in when Denise and Steven were like thinking about starting something where he was like, I'm still under contract. The fact that they mentioned that, and then it's probably nothing gonna ever come from that. Every single episode when Steven and Denise are talking about the company and the startup or whatever, I'm like, he's gonna be sued, he's gonna go to prison. Like, it's genuinely making me anxious for no good reason. Steven's not going to prison, okay? There are 3 episodes left. They're not gonna have him in jail. Spin-off, Orange is the New Black. That's making me anxious for no good reason, okay? Nothing's gonna come of that. They're not gonna send him to prison. Maybe he'll get fired and freed from his contracts, or like that'll never be mentioned again, probably. More likely than not. But it's making me anxious for no good reason. Every time Steven and Denise talk about their whole startup thing, I'm like, isn't he still under contract? Are you guys not gonna get sued? Anyways, back to the wedding shenanigans. So Belly finally tells, and I loved the scene, I was like screaming, crying, throwing up when she goes for a night swim in the pool and Making the Bed by Olivia Rodrigo starts playing. That is one of my favorite songs by Olivia Rodrigo, and also in general. It resonates with me so deeply in a way that I cannot put into words. Like, there are some songs where when I listen to them, I'm like line for line, bar for bar. If I was making a movie of my life, like I can picture the scenes and the montage, the way Belly made like an edit to her and Conrad's scenes in her head when she was high, to when We Can't Be Friends was playing and she was dancing. That's like me bar for bar with like some songs where I'm like, if I was making a movie of my life and I was like editing scenes together and there was a montage, like I can imagine the way that this song fits perfectly in my life in those moments. And Making the Bed by Olivia Rodrigo is one of those songs that I'm like, it captured the way that I felt my freshman year of college, and it means so much to me. I love that song. So when that was playing, hit me like a punch to the gut. Like, I got the things I wanted, but it's just not what I imagined. Like, punch to the gut. Sorry, that song hits me in a way I can't explain. They're changing my machinery and I just let it happen. That's so true. That's literally so true. And obviously, like, Belly and I, it's a different thing that she's going through than what I went through, but I think there's just something so poignant about that song and moments where you're like going through a transitional phase and so much is changing and you feel like you're changing through no control of your own. Like, it hits so well because it's like the things that Belly thinks that she wanted, it's not what she imagined. She's getting the summer house, she's marrying into the Fisher family, she's with, like, you know, and it was so well done. It was so well done. Sorry for going on that unnecessary tangent about that song. But she tells Jeremiah about Conrad's confession to her, and I hated his reaction. It really bothered me. He's all angry. He's like, I know, I've seen the way that he looks at you. It's been going on all summer, maybe even longer. It's like, and I said this last week, but I just genuinely do not think, and I rewatched a little bit of season 2, like not full episodes. I did rewatch, after Conrad's POV episode, I rewatched Jeremiah's POV episode because I hadn't even remembered that there was a Jeremiah POV episode. So I went back and I rewatched that, and I've rewatched clips here and there of season 2, and I have seen season 2 obviously, but like, I genuinely, like, I really just don't think Jeremiah needed to make himself an option for Belly. It's like, okay, you liked her, you kissed a few times. At the end of the summer, she didn't choose you, she chose your brother. They didn't date for a while because they didn't want to hurt you. He comes to you, they date. They have a very tumultuous relationship, whether you think he was good for her or not, whatever. I do not think Jeremiah needed to make himself an option for Belly. I'm sorry. Like, that is where he loses me. It's like, why did you even make yourself an option for Belly? And even now, it's like all of Jeremiah's moments, and it's like, I understand. It's like, okay, you love somebody and they're telling you that they love you too, so what are you gonna do, not believe them? But it's just like I'm not saying that it's all on Jeremiah, but it's just like, I struggle to feel bad for him when I'm like, you see these red flags, you see that you literally in that POV episode that I rewatched of Jeremiah's in season 2, he's like, I can't believe I didn't see this indescribable force between them. And then you notice, you knew about Christmas, which I'll get to later. Ugh, sorry. I need to go on a separate tangent about that. But like, you knew that something was building up between them. They were spending all this time together. And instead of having a conversation about it, instead of confronting it, you like pushed it down. And like, I'm sorry. It's like, and I understand whatever, they're young. I'm not going to like vilify him for it. But it's like, but anyways, they go to sleep in the same bed. The next day, it's the day of the wedding. Jeremiah's AWOL. Nowhere to be seen. I saw a really funny TikTok and I reposted it, but it was like this sound, and I imagine it's from Dance Moms, where it's like, we're like, where's Abby? Where's Abby? Who cares? Let's party. But it was like me watching where they're like, they can't find Jeremiah and they're like, who cares? I love that. That's so me. I'm like, okay, Jeremiah's not here. Thankfully, a moment of peace. Again, I'm a Jeremiah hater, and that's okay. Just as I think people are allowed to be Conrad haters in their own spaces, this is my space, okay? This is a one-woman show. I record, edit, I do everything for this podcast. It's literally just me. This is my space, you know? So I can be a Jeremiah hater on here. I'm allowed to be. And if you like Jeremiah and Jeremiah hate bothers you, then this isn't the space for you, and that's okay. Just as I like Conrad, and spaces where people really hate Conrad upset me. And do I sometimes dabble? I check in on what people are saying? Yes. But you know what I don't do? I don't get mad if people disagree with me. And I said this last week, but it's like, takes that I disagree with regarding television don't anger me 9 times out of 10, because I feel very convicted. Convicted feels, I'm like, this isn't Jesus, sorry. That felt blasphemous. I know the word convicted isn't only in religious circumstances, but I'm like, that felt a bit too strong. I feel very like confident in my opinions and my perspective on television because I come to these opinions. I think about the shows I watch a lot, and I come to these opinions with like a thesis, evidence. I could write essays about it. Like, I feel very confident in the reasons I feel certain ways about certain characters. So I don't really care if people like Jeremiah or people hate Conrad when I don't hate Conrad, because I'm like, well, I have reasons that I like Conrad, and so I don't care if people view it differently than I do. Like, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So I don't take it personally when people are really negative towards Conrad, because I'm like, okay, have your own opinions. I don't care. I can engage with like anti-Conrad things without getting too angry. Some things really, really do upset me, because I feel like it ventures into like, you're just being like offensive and like problematic. But like the way people, there was a discourse of like, Conrad's creepy for fantasizing about having sex with a teenage belly. It's like, can we please be for real? Or even comparing him to Joe Goldberg feels a little bit, and I understand like Joe Goldberg, whatever, he's a fictional stalker, like it's not like a real person, but it's like, I really don't like the comparison to Joe Goldberg, because it's like, even if you want to look at Conrad's behavior with the like least amount of charitability possible, let's not like compare him to somebody who literally like kills and harms people, and like kills women, harms people. Like, that's a step too far to me. And I get that they're fictional characters, but it's like, even if Conrad is the most like the least charitable, most nefarious characterization of him that you want to say, he's still not Joe Goldberg. Like, let's be a little bit in touch with reality. Like, and I think the reason it upsets me is not even because I'm like defensive of Conrad, but because I feel like that minimizes the point of Joe Goldberg's character to compare him to any man who you maybe think is being manipulative. I don't know. I feel like that's minimizing Joe Goldberg's character, to act like anybody who's like a little bit creepy is Joe Goldberg. Like, did we watch the same show? Okay, let's be a little bit for real. Anyways, sorry to go on that unnecessary tangent. Well, everything Jeremiah does bothers me. So anyways, he goes missing. I was glad that he was gone. Conrad finds him, and this whole tussle, once again, Jeremiah really pissed me the fuck off, because it's like, people always, sorry, I always do this when I talk about The Summer I Turned Pretty, but I just like, The Summer I Turned Pretty is one of those shows where I really engage with the discourse a lot, and because of that, and in that regard, I mean, like, I consume it. Do I sometimes make a video here and there? Yes, but it's not like I'm making videos all the time about, like, I'm not a content creator, so it's not like, anyways, so I don't engage in the discourse that much. I like every once in a while, but like I really do consume a lot of it. And there's a discourse that a lot of people have where they're like Team Jeremiah people. A lot of, again, whatever. I've seen people who are Team Jeremiah have this discourse where they get upset when people comment on the fact that Conrad was Belly's boyfriend first, because they think that the people who are Team Conrad are talking about Belly as if she is a possession that Conrad gave to Jeremiah. And it's like, no, we're talking about that because, as I've said previously, it's odd that Jeremiah even made himself an option, okay? In that dynamic, people want to go so hard for Conrad for confessing his feelings for Belly, but like, then why aren't you going hard on Jeremiah for even making himself an option? Jeremiah ruined that relationship by even, like, if somebody ruined that brotherly relationship, it was Jeremiah for going after his brother's ex. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. But it's just really silly to me that that's like acknowledging that Belly and Conrad had a relationship first, which then makes Jeremiah getting into relationship with Belly weird and weirder, in my opinion, than Conrad still being hung up on Belly. That's my opinion. I don't understand how mentioning that and the weirdness of Jeremiah making himself an option, how that's treating Belly like an object, but the way Jeremiah talked about Belly and saying that Conrad will never speak to her again, he gave her a chance 4 years, he gave him a chance 4 years ago and he doesn't get another one, as if Jeremiah himself gets to control what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You don't get to dictate Belly's decisions. What do you mean he doesn't get another chance with her? If she wants another chance with him, then that's her decision to make. I didn't like the way he was talking about it. He punches Conrad. Conrad's better than me. I would have actually, I wouldn't have, because I don't believe in like the police and getting people arrested. So never mind. I'm like, I would have charged him with assault, but I actually wouldn't have done that. In the real world, I'm like, I wouldn't have charged him with this all, let's be real. So I take that back. Okay, but anyways, Belly and Conrad's goodbye, that broke my heart. I'm sorry. When he was like, no matter what happens, I won't regret loving you. I won't see you for a while. And like that broke my heart. Like that broke my heart. To me, that was like Conrad letting her go and being like, I want you to be happy. It was like he gave it his all and he was like, I did what I could do and I'm not gonna make her decision for her. That broke my heart, and it was sweet and it was beautiful, and I loved the little forehead kiss and I liked it. I also love the fact that Jeremiah says, you're never seeing Belly again, and Conrad said, yeah, I am. Anyways, also forgot to mention this, but Steven getting mad at Conrad, whatever. Once again, Conrad's better than me because it's like let us not forget, and I understand why he wouldn't bring this up, but it's like, I feel like it's important to note, and if you still want to say that it was crazy and evil or wrong or whatever, do I think it was a little bit wild and crazy? Maybe, I don't love using the word crazy, but it was a little bit, weird to confess his love for Belly at the time he did. I can acknowledge that. I think it's important to acknowledge that wasn't like unprompted. He's like, Belly's marrying Jeremiah, this is my last chance. He had released Belly in his heart and he was like, she's happy and they're good together, so I'm not going to get involved. He didn't even go to her and be like, be with me. He was like, he's not treating you well. And then Belly's response caught him off guard because she's like, oh yeah, I know about that, and we moved past it. And he's like, it was not only, like, it was the realization of, like, Belly isn't being treated the way that I think she should be treated, and also she doesn't even seem to see the version of herself that she's become in this relationship, and I don't think that she should be with him. Like, I think it's important to note the catalyst wasn't Belly marrying Jeremiah, but finding out that Jeremiah cheated on Belly. Like, I think that's important to note. I understand why he wouldn't mention that, but it's just like, obviously from the outside perspective, Steven just sees it as like, oh, he confessed his love because Belly's getting married, and it's like, yes, but like, that wasn't his original intent. He went to her being like, hey, you should know this before you get married. Which is, like, valid, okay? Because marriage, I don't think that they were really fully grasping what marriage was, okay? Jeremiah doesn't even know that being late on your credit card, like not paying off your credit card, impacts your credit score. Fisher is ready for marriage, sure. Like, that's a valid thing to be like, hey, something really big happened between you. Like, he did something that you should know before you decide to get married. And then she's like, oh, yeah, I know about that. And he's like, and you're marrying him still? Like, it was like that realization, okay? That's important to know. And I understand why I didn't mention that, but it's like Steven acting like, and again, he didn't have all the information, but I need to defend Conrad in that instance because it wasn't like Belly's getting married. I have to tell her. It wasn't like a speak now or forever hold your peace kind of thing. It was literally, he was looking out for Belly and he wanted to tell her immediately. And then he found out that she was compromising and accepting all of these things that he didn't think that she should. And he was like, this is my last plea. Like, you know what? Fuck it. You shouldn't be with him. You should be with me. I wouldn't do this to you. And whether that's a good or a bad thing to do, the context, in my opinion, matters, at least from storytelling perspective, because I feel like ignoring the fact that he found out about Cabo. Anyways, and he does mention that before Jeremiah punches him in the face. Anyways, Belly and Jeremiah's breakup, I loved it. I'm glad that they're over. Speaking of Cabo, and this is the rant I needed to go on. So we find out in their breakup, he eventually shows back up because he's missing. The wedding's about to start and he's still not there. Eventually he comes back after the tussle with Conrad. He comes back and Belly's like, we should talk about it. And he's like, no, what matters is that I came back. All those, Jeremiah Fisher is such a good communicator. Where are you now, huh? She wants to talk about the fact that he went missing on their wedding. Mind you, she went to him the night before and said, I think you should, Conrad told me this. And then he's mad at Conrad. And Belly's like, it doesn't matter, okay? What matters is you and me. And then she's like, unless you want to back out. And he's like, I don't want to back out. Like, or no, because he was like, so what, you're telling me this so you can just run to him? And she's like, no, I thought you should know before we get married. Because unlike you, bitch, she wants to tell you information before, whatever. It's fine, moving on. He does not want to have that conversation with her. She's like, we're about to get married. Why did you disappear? Like, we should talk about this. And he's like, what matters is that I came back. Conrad is the one who leaves and I'm the one who comes back. I'm sorry, the Jeremiah Fisher is not a manipulative crowd. What the fuck do you think was the purpose of that, if not to like test Belly and see how she reacted? Why bring up Conrad? At the very least, Belly has no feelings for Conrad. There's no feelings on her end. Imagine your fiance's ex, who's also your brother, tells her day before your wedding that he's still in love with her. She's probably feeling a lot of things. She tells you that in confidence. You get angry and then you leave. Even if she has no feelings for him whatsoever, and it's not anything on her end, like, don't you think she's still probably like really in her head about like the fact that like that's a big thing to receive right before you're about to get married? Like, what do you mean? Like, she's probably going through a lot. She's really anxious. He doesn't want to talk about it at all. Then he brings Conrad up. Why bring Conrad up? Like, at the very least, Conrad is somebody who just, like, really said something jarring that threw Belly off her axis right before she's about to get married to you. Why bring him up? Especially in a way to position yourself as, like, see, I'm better than him. I'm the right choice. Then she reacts, and Jeremiah is like, I can't even mention his name. Why would you mention his name? Why would you mention his name? It wasn't like it wasn't a casual conversation, okay, where it was like, oh, Conrad and I went surfing and she reacted. Maybe then saying, oh, I can't even say his name without you reacting would make sense. But in the context of Conrad, the man who just told you he still loves you, and here's how I compare to him because I came back and he wouldn't know. Like, what do you mean? Obviously, she's going to have a reaction. So, anyways, it comes out. He reveals that he knew about Christmas, and she's like, so that's why you picked that fight with me before spring break. And this, for me, if I didn't already hate Jeremiah, would be the nail in his fucking coffin. Because what do you mean that the man who people insist is such a good communicator and works things out with Belly and isn't manipulative and doesn't withdraw and doesn't take his love away from her? He thinks that he has a suspicion. The mere thought that Belly was in the same house as Conrad for a day. Instead of being like, oh, hey, I heard that Conrad was in the house. If Belly lied to him in that moment, maybe it'd be a different thing. But it's like, it never came up and she didn't think to mention it. I'm sorry. If somebody is so... Do I think that there are moments where people just withhold things from you and like that's whatever, like people aren't the best communicators? Yes. But I think, and this is my perception of Jeremiah and Belly's dynamic. I genuinely feel like Belly has a guard up with Jeremiah where she does not feel super comfortable and open to like really, like, what do you mean? Jeremiah knew this information and it upset him to the point where he picked a fight with Belly and then slept with somebody twice. I don't think Belly should have kept that information from him. I don't. And I understand that like she did keep that information because she did start to feel something, and that's wrong of her, okay? But if you have a suspicion and you don't bring it up, then how are you any better than her? Like, you didn't approach that maturely or well either. Because honestly, there is a world where that is something that like she genuinely, it was so minor that she forgot about it. They were passing ships in the night. He was upstairs, she was downstairs. They saw each other once. And they would just, like, what do you mean? Like, there's a chance that it was genuinely nothing. She even gave him the opportunity when she was like, did something happen between you and your dad? And he could be like, yeah, I found out that Conrad was in the house over Christmas. Like, I'm just a little bit caught off guard and it's been bothering me. Like, she literally said, did something else happen when you were hanging out with your dad? And he was like, well, worse than visiting my dead mom's grave. Instead of, that would have been a perfect opportunity to say, something has been bothering me. One of the neighbors mentioned that Conrad had been there over Christmas, and that just kind of caught me off guard because I know you were there over Christmas. And like, obviously, I trust you, but I'm just confused as to why you wouldn't tell me that you guys were like there together. And then Belly could have been like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I meant to tell you. I don't know. Or even she could have been like, I'm so sorry. I don't know. I kept it from you. Like, that was stupid. We just hadn't been around each other for a while, and I was like worried about how you would receive that or something. They could have worked through it then. She gave you the perfect opportunity to express what was bothering you, and instead you picked a fight with her and then slept with somebody. I'm sorry. Like, the fact that people defend Jeremiah in that instance by being like, they were broken up. Literally, even if, this is worse because it was premeditated. Like, instead of having a mature conversation, he runs from the relationship, which is something that Conrad is apparently evil for withdrawing. He is upset about something, and instead of talking to her about it, he picks a fight, ends the relationship. He says, you think everything I do is ridiculous, so why don't we just end it? He said that. And then he sleeps with somebody twice. I'm sorry. I hate Jeremiah. That really pissed me off. He's not a good communicator. He's not a mature partner. I can understand and I can be like, you know what? That's fine. Okay. You don't think Belly should be with Conrad. Whatever. I don't understand how you think Belly should be with Jeremiah. I don't. Or how they're even a good, healthy relationship. It's like the brief snippets we saw of their relationship were just Belly unable to like communicate or compromise. That brings me to another thing. At the rehearsal, at dinner, when they give little toast, Jeremiah says something shady towards Conrad. Fuck you. I hate Jeremiah. So then Adam comes up and congratulates Jeremiah about taking the job. So not only did he get the job offer, not tell Belly, he took the job offer without even telling Belly he had a job offer. He's doing school remotely, and she's not. And once again, the way he's like, I thought you would be proud of me. Instead of just being like, I'm sorry, I should have talked to you. She says, why wouldn't you tell me first? And he's like, I thought you would be proud of me. Like, what do you mean he's a healthy communicator? He doesn't communicate with her. When she takes issue with something, or she brings up an issue, or she tries to broach an issue, he is manipulative in the way that he communicates. I do not like Jeremiah Fisher. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. I really don't like Jeremiah Fisher. Like, what do you mean? Every step of the way. Like, she's like, I don't like this about the wedding. He's like, my dad's just really excited. I don't want to look out into a group of people I don't know. Then just look at me. All of his solutions, it's all about him. It's all about him all the time in their communications. She's like, why wouldn't you tell me first? And then he's like, I don't have to take the job though. Whatever. I don't think that they communicate in a healthy way. And I think the Cabo fight is like the epitome of that. And I think it just really proves and validates to me that he's not a good communicator. And that Cabo thing just gets worse and worse by the day, because it's like, okay, even if you were broken up, you broke up with her and then slept with somebody else. Even if you broke up with her, you literally picked a fight. You were upset about something, and instead of asking her about it calmly, you assumed the worst in her, picked a fight, and then slept with somebody immediately after when you know that means something to Belly. And then didn't tell her about it. I can't stand him. I'm sorry. It's like he doesn't tell Belly before he makes decisions because he knows that they'll upset her, or that's not what she wants. So then he does so Like, a mature, healthy communication would have been when Adam offers be like, oh, I should check with Belly. I don't know, like, what she wants for the wedding, and I want to make sure it's what she wants. No, he agrees to do the wedding the way his dad wants without talking to Belly. He assumes that something happened with Conrad, so he ends their relationship and then sleeps with somebody else. He assumes that they were broken up and that it will hurt Belly, and he doesn't want to lose Belly. It's about him. He doesn't want to lose Belly, so he doesn't tell her. Because if he cared about Belly, he would tell her, even if it didn't work out in his favor. Conrad told Belly his feelings, even if it wasn't going to work out for him. He left the decision up to her. Jeremiah withholds information, and then Belly doesn't make like an informed decision, or he makes decisions, and then when she is upset that he made the decision without her, or that the result is not something she wants, he makes it about himself and how, like, but my dad's finally trying with me. Oh, I thought you would be proud of me. And then, oh my God, this is unrelated, but then after, and I'm jumping all over the place, sorry. They broke up after this, but like, I forgot about this and then I got angry. After the rehearsal dinner, Jeremiah and Belly are gonna go get ice cream. And he invites Conrad, and Conrad's like, no, I'm okay. And then he's like, I thought you were my best man. Like, you ditched the bachelor party. Which, mind you, his other best man, Steven, also ditched the bachelor party. So, like, okay, whatever. He's being so annoying. So you allegedly know. You picked up on the fact that Conrad still likes Belly, that there's still something there. And you're still, like, judging him for not being as involved in the wedding. Isn't that better? The moment he got involved, he realized that you were a fucking asshole and intervened. And then he's also an asshole for intervening. So, like, Conrad can't win. He doesn't involve himself, and then he's wrong for that. Why would Jeremiah even ask Conrad to be his co-best man if he feels like there's still something between Conrad and Belly? It's all very odd. Jeremiah is a very odd individual. Then when he got into the fight, right, like when they're breaking up, he's like, I proposed to you. You could have said no. You gave me... And it's like, you could have also had a conversation with her. She gave you many opportunities. When you got back from Cabo and and you were like, so we're back together, and she's like, we were never broken up. Perfect opportunity to be like, I'm so sorry. I was really sad. I slept with somebody. I thought we were broken up, and it didn't mean anything to me, but I was just really numb and sad, or whatever he says after. He could have said that then, and then said, I understand if that's like a deal breaker and you don't want to be with me. But that's the thing about Jeremiah. It's like, he doesn't. He finally lets her go and is like, I don't want just a piece of you. That's finally the moment that he ends it. But it's like, so he didn't want to let her go. And I don't like Jeremiah. The Cabo thing, I'm sorry, is genuinely irredeemable to me. The way that he consistently ignores her hesitation about things and then just centers himself and his feelings, and the way that his dad finally showed up for him, or his dad was finally proud of him, or his dad's excited about the wedding, or don't worry about the crowd of people, just look at me. Why didn't you tell me? I wanted you to be proud of me for getting this job. This way we don't have to rely on our parents. What do you mean you don't have to rely on your parents? The job is at your father's, like, company. What do you mean you don't have to rely on your parents? Your dad is writing you a paycheck. What are you talking about? You are relying on your father. It's not even like he took a job without consulting her, which is already like a fucked up thing to do. He took a job in a different city from where their college is when she decided to not study abroad because they would be moving in together and living together. And like it was like she didn't want to be away from him right after they got married, but he made a decision which would then require him being away from her right after they get married. So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's a deeply inconsiderate man, and I do not like him. I'm so glad that she's free of him. Then the episode ends with Belly going to the airport. She buys a ticket to Paris, and then Conrad's also there. And that's where the episode ends. And I'm really excited. We got like a trailer for the last 3 episodes, which is really exciting. Belly's in Paris. I'm so excited for the Paris, for the letters, for Bonrad Endgame, just for us to be free of Belly Jer. I'm sorry, I hated their dynamic. Like, for me, it's not even just that I don't like Jeremiah as a character. I don't like their dynamic because from my perspective, their dynamic is one where she's consistently denying her own desires and wants and compromising and being disregarded and not like truly seen or considered in a way that I really don't like. I really don't like it. He doesn't communicate. When she brings up an issue, they don't resolve conflict. I'm sorry, the Cabo thing is irredeemable to me. It's irredeemable. You were so upset with her that you picked a fight, ended the relation. There were so many opportunities. You could have immediately, and yes, she should have told him about Christmas. Okay, withholding information is bad. I'm not saying that that she shouldn't have. But I think, honestly, him lying about him withholding the fact that he slept with somebody else twice is worse than Belly not telling him that she shared space with Conrad for a day. It wasn't like they were there for like a week together, okay? He stayed there for like one night. Like, that's so stupid to me. Like, yes, she shouldn't have withheld that information. But if you find out that somebody's keeping something from you, then you approach them. She literally said this, something happened when you were with your dad the other day. Like, something's bothering you. You've been acting weird since you got back. And you could have said, you know what, actually something did happen. I don't want to like assume the worst or like accuse you of anything. But I heard that Conrad was in the summer house during Christmas, and I'm just like a little caught off guard because I don't know why you wouldn't tell me that, and it's like making me doubt things and question things because obviously you have a history, and like I trust you, and I know you chose me, and I really like anything. That's what a mature, emotionally mature Jeremiah, who people keep trying to act like he is. Jeremiah is not a mature emotional communicator. I feel like I'm crazy when people say that. Okay, also, and I made a TikTok about this, and it's like low-key. This is so unserious because I made this TikTok like fully. I was being. It was haha funny to me, but she took it all serious and got her feelings hurt. No, I'm kidding. But this TikTok of mine is like literally doing better than any. Like in my mind, I'm like low key going viral. I'm not. I mean, it has like 40,000 likes, which is the most a TikTok of mine has ever gotten. So like it is viral by my standards, but I literally made this TikTok as a joke. When they're breaking up, Belly says, I don't even know where you end and I begin. And I'm like, okay, Jackie, Shauna, calm down, okay? Shauna said that to Jackie after she died, Jackie. And then she ate her. So like, what are you talking about? Okay, I don't even know where you end and you begin. I'll believe you when you start like cannibalizing. I'm kidding. Also, sorry, very brief moment, and then I'll genuinely wrap up. I'm hopping all over the place, but this is related to the I don't know where you end and I begin thing. Taylor finally has a moment where she's like, Belly, I don't think you should do this. And I was like, thank fucking God, Taylor. Taylor's seen the light, okay? That's how you know. The ship is sinking. Belly's like, if you don't want to be here, then don't be here. Like, if you're not going to support me, don't be here. And Taylor's like, I've been supporting you through everything, but I've seen you choose Jeremiah over your mom, over Paris, like, and now me, and I just, like, and I really appreciated that. And I do think, and I hope that there's some self-reflection where Belly can be like, I did kind of lose myself in that relationship. And even in their breakup, they talked about how they clung to each other. They picked up the pieces after Susanna died. And it's like, yeah, that's what their relationship was. They weren't meant to be. But anyways, I'm so excited for the Paris era. I also really liked when Belly and Taylor got into that fight. Steven like stood up for Taylor. I'm like, okay, I like that. Anyways, so moving on to Big Brother 27. I have a disclaimer for Big Brother 27 week 6. Am I on week 7? I think I'm on week 6. Week 7, I believe. So quick disclaimer about Big Brother week 7. Big Brother 27 week 7. I was low-key a casual this week. So if you don't know the lingo, casuals only watch the episodes. And while I tuned into feeds a little bit, and I have some notes based off of like stuff I saw on Twitter and stuff, I will be quite honest that I was not super tapped into feeds because, as I talked about in my intro, if you skipped it, I was like struggling a lot over the weekend, and then early in the week, a lot of my free time, I was trying to get my last podcast episode out. So I honestly just wasn't like super tuned into feeds. So I feel like I missed a lot. So I will probably not be super thorough, nor do I have a lot of context about stuff beyond the episodes. I'm going to try and include some stuff, okay? But I just need to make that disclaimer because I really like to be tapped into feeds, and I like my Big Brother coverage to be a little bit more comprehensive than just the episodes. But like this week is going to be a little bit rough. I have been tuning into feeds a lot more for this upcoming week, whatever week we're on, 8 now. The one that started this Thursday, the 28th, and that HOH and everything. It's only been like a day and like a night and stuff, but I did watch feeds today. Like, I'm a lot more tuned in. Anyways, and I'm actually kind of glad that I'm recording this on Friday night because I was feeling really like down in the dumps after the HOH one yesterday. So if I had recorded that then, I feel like I would feel a lot more bleak. But anyways, on to the previous week. So on Thursday, Riley went home. At least I did. I was super happy that he was gone. It was such a relief. I was like, thank God. What a week. Rachel Riley was HOH. We got Riley out. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was magical. It was everything I ever hoped. So what was I even talking about? I lost my train of thought. Okay, Riley went home and it was the wall comp. And it was on feeds. I did watch it live. It was a fairly decent wall comp in terms of length, like time that it aired. I don't know because I can't remember last wall comp that like went for a very long time. But it was definitely before I watched feeds. And like, while I am glad that we got to watch the whole wall on feeds, and I did, like I was tuned in for the whole thing, I'll never forget the buzz of watching the pressure cooker for Big Brother 25 because that actually went like overnight and it was so exciting. And while it is lovely to get to watch an HOH comp live at all, the people long for an endurance HOH on feeds. At least I do. Like, the wall, it's nice that we get it on feeds, but it's just like, it's not an endurance comp anymore in the same way. I mean, it lasted like an hour, so I guess it is, but like, anyways, that's beside the point. I really liked the way it looked, the theme of it, I guess. I will say, whoever's designing the aesthetics of, I don't know if it's like all in, like I don't know if like the prop people, I don't know how game shows work, so I don't know if like the prop people also work with like the people who create the comps. Maybe the wall is like probably always around the same, but like there's people who make the games, right? I wonder if the prop, like how they all probably work together, but I really like the visuals. It was like a train. Now I was excited for Morgan because she's been talking about the wall comp for a while. The first three people to drop were have-nots, and Ashley and Will dropped at the same time. That was sad, but I wasn't that worried about Will. I love Will. I'm not Will isn't such a Will is somebody to watch. I feel like I said early on that I liked Will, and I haven't had any like negative feelings of Will. And I love him in the edited show. I enjoy him on feeds. I'm rooting for Will, and I think he's in genuinely a good spot where he's not on. Like, I think he's in a good spot. Like, there are sides of the house, right, where there's like Keanu, Kelly, Catherine, Lauren, Riley was on that side too. Vince is kind of in the middle. But that comes up later. Then obviously he's with the judges, which is like Morgan, Mickey. Well, no, Mickey's not in the judges, but like there's the Morgan, Mickey, Will. And I think Will, even though he's more aligned with like the Mickeys and Morgan and Rachel and like that side of the house, Will is like in a good spot where I don't think he's like really disliked by anybody. On the other side, and obviously as the numbers dwindle, like maybe they would target him, but like there's bigger fish to fry before Will, so I feel like Will's in a good spot. And he's also done a good job of like, there were a few weeks there where it was like, okay, it's the same people, and now we've kind of gotten to a place where it's not like people are like really pawns in the same way, where it's like, I'm gonna nominate you because you're for sure gonna stay against somebody else, which is like, honestly, personally, as a viewer, some of my least favorite kind of nominations of like, I'm gonna keep you, or I'm gonna nominate you because you're guaranteed to stay against people. Like, I hate that kind of, I hate nominating people like that. I'm like, nominate people that you're fine with going home, because chances are if you nominate like 3 people and you really only want one gone, chances are that one person's gonna not be on the block by the end of eviction because of the stupid fucking blockbuster. So like, just nominate people you're fine with going home, okay? Whatever. I'm glad that like Will didn't become a person where it's like Lauren nominated him for that reason, and I'm glad that is something that went away. But anyways, Morgan is the third to fall, which was sad for her because she really wanted to play in the wall comp. And then towards the end, it was like the final 4 people on the wall were Keanu, Kelly, Lauren, and Vince. Kat, Lauren, and Vince. Then Keanu and Kelly fell, Lauren fell. The final 2 people, I don't know the order of the people that fell. It's really not super relevant. The first 3 people were have-nots, so I remembered them. But like towards the end, the Ashley Morgan side of the house, they were all out. And it was like Keanu, Kelly, Vince, Lauren, that side of the house. And at the end, Vince is kind of in the middle, right? Because he is in the judges with Morgan, Rachel, Will, and Ashley. Morgan, Rachel, Will, Ashley, Vince. I think it's them. So like obviously he's in that alliance that had just formed, but he also was closely aligned with other people, but he had just voted against, and they built this up a lot in Sunday's episode of like Vince really needs to win because he just pissed off like a side of the house. So it was like Vince was in an interesting spot to win because obviously he had just pissed off like a bunch of people, including like the side of the house that had just, like Lauren had just saved him and then he voted to evict somebody on her side of the house. So like obviously, anyway, so he tries to make a deal with Kat. It's him and Kat at the end. He tries to make a deal with Kat and she doesn't take it. She falls. She should have taken the deal, but I get why she didn't want to do that because she was like, if she won, she didn't want to be held to like not nominating him. I get it. She was like, no, I want to nominate you anyway, whatever. I think, and I don't know. I can't speak to how I would be feeling in the game, okay? But I feel like just take the deal. But I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't. But anyways, Vince is the HOH. First 2-time HOH of the season. Congratulations to Vince Philip Panera. I don't remember his last name. Anyways, so he is the HOH and it's kind of like, what will he do? But he nominates Mickey, Kelly, and Ava. He nominated Ava because Ava had obviously nominated him, so that was an easy person. Mickey was his target, and then he tried to like appeal to Kelly by being like, will you be a pawn, because she had previously volunteered. But Kelly's kind of like lost favor, like she's really lost momentum with Vince, so she was like, no, I don't want to be a pawn. He nominated her anyway, which, like, you know what, he had limited options. I'm at the point of the season where I'm done with the AI arena, okay? Fuck the AI arena. I've been anti-AI arena for a hot minute now, but like, I just think that if they're gonna do this, it should only last like 5 weeks. Because the jury is so small, it goes on for way too fucking long, okay? Make a bigger jury and then end it when jury starts, if you wanna keep it. Because it's just like, it gets to a point where it's like, why do you have to nominate 3 people? And not only do you have to nominate 3 people, but it kills so much strategy and like the ability to like backdoor somebody. I hate it. I hate the AI arena. I'm like not a fan. I'm sorry. I'm so not a fan. It's really, really angering me. It's like, why does he have to nominate 3 people? And again, if the veto's used, you end up having to nominate 4 people. If you're Jimmy and there are 2 extra vetoes in play, you have to nominate 5 people. What are we doing? I hate that. I'm sorry, especially at this point in the game. It's like, whatever. I hate it. I hate the having to nominate 3 people thing. It pisses me the fuck off. Sorry, I'm composing myself. Anyway, so Kelly, honestly, I think he doesn't care enough about Kelly, but in an ideal world, he wouldn't have even had to nominate Kelly, okay? But he does. He nominates Kelly, and that's fine. I think he also, I think it wasn't, just that. I don't think that if he hadn't nominated Kelly, that would have saved him favor necessarily. I think a lot of people on that side of the house are souring to Vince, and I don't really blame them. Like, Vince, I think it takes a good player to backstab you and then make you feel like that was in your best interest, or, allow you to, not be mad at them. Vince will betray you and then make him, and then talk about it as if he's the victim for betraying you. That doesn't appeal to people, to be like, he does a bad job of like doing shady things and then making people feel good about the shady things he's doing. I want to like Vince, okay? I like the floater, playing the middle, playing hard. I want to root for Vince. But it's just the way that he, like, I don't know. Before nominations, obviously there's a like, will Rachel be the nominee? She had been targeting him. Rachel was named. Keanu specifically was really pushing Rachel. We saw in the edited show that Catherine and Lauren had told Keanu, like, if Rachel gets to the end, I'm going to vote for Rachel. So then Keanu's starting to be like, if I have a final two with Rachel, but like, if I'm in the final two with Rachel, am I even gonna win? So he starts to be like, maybe we should get Rachel out, but somebody else should get Rachel out so she's not mad at me. So then he starts trying to push Rachel to go home, not realizing that he's saying this to Vinny the Lip, who tells Rachel anyway. The Rachel Keanu frenemies arc has been something to behold. I can never keep track. It's like they like each other, they don't like each other, they like each other, they don't like each other. I don't even know. I really, especially because it really is that mean to me where it's like, we're so over, we're so back. Because there are moments where I'm genuinely like, okay, this is the end. They're done. And then they're not. They're not. It's so unserious. Anyways, Keanu's really pushing for Rachel. Morgan is really pushing for Rachel not to go up. And initially, you know, he has 3 easy noms. It's like Kelly, he's already put up. Plus, he can very easily, even though she doesn't buy it, but like, you know, you tell her, hey, you're a great player. I want you to win, whatever. I get it. Like, whatever. Kelly also is not really that good of a, like, social player or has much capital or, like, anything. Whatever. So, who cares? Ava nominated you, and then Mickey, a lot of people want Mickey out, okay? A lot of people want Mickey out. You're upsetting literally nobody by nominating Mickey except Mickey. Whatever. You know, the nominees made sense. Obviously, renom, a lot of names are being thrown out there. The side of the house that he just betrayed by voting Riley out really is like, you should obviously nominate Rachel. What are you talking about? But Vince's new formed alliance, the judges are obviously not pushing, don't nominate Rachel. Morgan is like, don't take the shot at Rachel. Vince keeps being like, what if I'm an idiot and she comes for me anyway? And Morgan's like, if that happens, you don't take the shot. Like, don't be the one to betray the alliance. Then if you turn on her, then you're going to lose the allies. If she's the one who turns on you in this alliance, then he's the one who will lose the allies. Like, don't break up this alliance. Whether that was the right decision for Vince long term, we'll see. I think it's hard in Big Brother, and it's like why you kind of have to like have a lot of your bases covered and like, you know, because in this instance, he goes with the judges. They have like, that side of the house tends to have a majority, but then it's like, somebody like a Keanu or Kelly or somebody who you've just backstabbed and you're not winning favor with, they win HOH, then you're screwed. So it's like in the moment you could be like, okay, logically, if I target Rachel and I don't have the numbers to send her home, then I just have Rachel and a bunch of people coming after me now. So I don't know how smart of a decision that is. But also, you don't target Rachel, you target like backup nominees or people from the side of the house you just burned, then you lose favor with those people. So if one of them wins HOH, then you're screwed and all of these things. So it's like, I understand. And I really think that he kind of did it to himself. And I'm not like happy about it. I'm sorry that he did that to himself. It must suck. That felt so shady. I didn't mean it to be shady. But like, anyways. So like, I get why things happened the way they did, okay, for Vince. So on Saturday, the veto is played, and I loved this veto competition. It was kind of a knockout-ish comp, but not really. Like, it felt similar to a knockout comp where you, like, pick somebody to compete against. But basically, it was like there are 2 wine glasses. Somebody in a random draw gets picked to go to the bar. They pick the wine glasses, and they know which one's poisoned, and they have to, like, give somebody the poisoned wine glass, or like give themselves the poison wine glass, and then try to convince the person like that they do have the wine glass that's poisoned or not. So they either like, people would try to be like, I want this person to switch with me, or like there was strategy behind it that I really enjoyed. So it's like, who can you lie too well. Like, I really liked this competition. If I was playing this, and you know what, I feel fine saying this because I'm never gonna play this, so it's not like I'm revealing my strategy. I'm never gonna play this. But if I was playing this, I would always give the other person the poison. Like, I don't even care. I am not dying in my own hand, okay? I'm not accidentally poisoning myself. And I guess I would if they switched the poison, but then I'd be like, well, you know what? It was like, I would always give the other person the poison, okay? I've tried to kill myself once. I'm not going to do it again. I made a pact to myself that I was never going to do that again. I'm sorry. That's so dark. I'm so sorry. Anyways. But like, I feel like I would always just give the other person the poison. But I really like the way people had strategies for it. Because also, oh my god, this is so funny, and I forgot to mention this. Mickey obviously is thinking about like who would save her, and she is like, Will, would you save me? And he's like, yeah, because he's aligned with Mickey. Because obviously they consider like, who would I pick in House Guest Choice? And Will is like, yeah, of course. But Will actually does not want to win the veto at all because he wouldn't want to mess with Vince's nominations at all. Because he's in the Judges Alliance with Vince. So he's like, he wouldn't want to change nominations. But he doesn't want to win the veto because he doesn't want to have to then say no to Mickey. So he does not want to get picked. He does get picked, not with like House Guest Choice. His name just gets picked. Oh, and Kelly gets House Guest Choice and she picks Keanu. So competing in the veto are Vince, Kelly, Keanu, Mickey, Will, and Ava, which was super funny. For reasons I'll get into. I think Ava's the first to die. Kelly then dies. It's like if you drink the poison twice, you're out. So like people had different strategies where it was like, I think this person trusts me, so I'm just gonna give them like the glass. I don't think they're gonna want to switch with me. Things like that. I really liked this veto because it was very strategic, and there were moments where it was like, but also similar to like the way that Ava won that knockout H2H comp. It was like you pick people, and the more often you pick somebody, the more likely that they'll drink the poison, and the sooner they'll be out. And a few rounds in, Keanu was like not picking Mickey because even though he wanted Mickey out, he was like, I don't know. There was like bad strategy in some ways where it was like people didn't want to pick Mickey because they didn't want to make it clear that they were trying to get Mickey out. And then there's a moment which was so unserious and so funny and so, to me, indicative of the way Keanu is just like not the best player, where Vince, because there's a round that goes by where Keanu doesn't pick Mickey. And then in that round, there was like an odd number. So Mickey wasn't picked at all. So Mickey just made it through the round without having to drink any wine glass that round. Like any wine she got a huge leg up. Anyways, there was a round where Vince was going to pick and he went to pick Mickey. But Keanu like volunteered and was like very forward and being like, are you going to give me the wine glass? Like, you should give me the wine glass. And Vince didn't want to make it because Keanu, he said this in his DRs, was like, I'm trying to help Vinny because this way he doesn't have to make it obvious which of his nominees he's targeting. But Vince wanted to target Mickey. Actually, this might have been the round that Mickey didn't end up getting selected. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was a round before this. But like, anyways, Vince ended up being like, well, it'll seem weird now if I don't go to Keanu. So we went to Keanu, and I think Vince was out that round. So he kind of unintentionally sabotaged Vince, which was so unserious. I'm like, this is literally so a perfect representation of Keanu doing something that he thinks is for like the better outcome, like to help. He's trying to help in his mind, but it's actually just putting Vince in a worse spot and like screwing him over and like helping Mickey. All that being said, in the final round, I don't remember who it was up against, but Mickey wins. Spoiler. Mickey wins, and obviously Renom, a lot of people are throwing their opinions in. Rachel had already been an option, so obviously the side of the house that isn't aligned with Rachel was pushing Rachel because they're like, this makes sense, take the shot. Morgan very heavily was pushing for Rachel not to be the Renom. She's like, do not risk breaking up this alliance. And obviously Morgan's really aligned with Rachel. So Vince is very torn. He's really torn. He's like, I don't even know if I'd have I'd have the numbers. But obviously whatever decision he makes, he is making a statement to one side of the house or the other, right? So it's like, what do you want to gamble on? And I understand the decision he ended up making. And I will say, they did not show this in the edit like super well. From everything I've gathered, again, I wasn't super plugged into live feeds, but they condense things a lot, and they like, I don't know, they make it seem like it was all Morgan, and Morgan did do a lot of work, and obviously even Morgan's work was very condensed, but even like Ashley did a good job. Like a lot of people were in Vince's ear explaining why he shouldn't nominate Rachel, and so it wasn't simply Morgan. Also happening this week when Vince was HOH, Vince and Morgan are in some kind of flirty something, which I don't really like to comment on matters in that regard, because I'm like, he has a girlfriend of 7 years, and I'm sure a lot of people talk about it and it's painful enough, and I'll talk about it when it impacts the game. It impacted the game in the regard that like Vince was heavily influenced by Morgan, and it was some of the like closeness and proximity and cuddling and like that tension that was building. Did that influence him? Likely so. So in that regard, I'm going to bring it up. And some people are noticing it now going forward, and I do think it's like into week 8, a lot of people are raising their eyes at the Morgan and Vince dynamic in a way that may impact their game. So in that regard, I'll talk about it in week 8 if it continues. Obviously, we're only like one day in. I'm recording this Friday night, as I said. So who knows how big of a role, or if that'll escalate, or whatever. If it impacts the gameplay, I'll talk about it, just as I really didn't care to talk about the Riley, Catherine stuff until it kind of became important to the game. And even then, I only touched on it briefly, and I shared my distaste for it. But anyways, not distaste because I have anything against showmances, distaste because I didn't like the way Riley spoke to Catherine. But moving forward, I felt the need to mention that, because Morgan did really push Vince. But I think ultimately, I don't know, he would have kind of been screwed either way, because it's like nominating Rachel, if he got lucky, if it worked out and they got Rachel out, that would have been a great move and he would have been in a great spot. Maybe, like, are there people that would avenge him? I don't know. Like, the thing is, Vince was kind of in a bad spot, because it's like he had just been nominated and he had, like, his name had come up, right? Vince had kind of been, it wasn't like he was under the radar, and it would have like really put a target. I don't know. I feel like Vince was kind of screwed either way, because it's like his name was already up in the air. So it's not like, and he had just betrayed one side of the house, and the side of the house that he hadn't betrayed, a lot of the people on that side of the house were already thinking about him and considering him. And so it's like, and he had just won favor with like that side of the house. And it's like, he was kind of screwed either way, because his name was already in the conversation. So it's not like he was kind of, not a factor. And then if he had made a decision one way or the other, it would have really shown his cards. I feel like his cards were kind of ready on the table. So I don't really know. I feel like he was kind of screwed either way. I was happy with the decision he made, because come Monday, Mickey used her veto and Catherine was the replacement nominee. And I was happy because I did not want Rachel on the block. I felt like while a lot of them are not the most savvy players, and maybe they would have kept Rachel, maybe they wouldn't have, who knows. I was glad that was not even something that I had to worry about. Like, I was so happy that Rachel didn't touch the block. I was like, thank God. Because who knows, Rachel, a lot of them right now don't want Rachel on the block because she's a number for them. But maybe if she is on the block, they take the shot. I mean, I don't know, because they had the opportunity to take the shot at Kelly and they didn't. And that was stupid, because the one time Kelly lost a blockbuster, I think, if I'm not incorrect, that's the only time that Kelly was sitting on the block on an eviction. Because the other time she'd been nominated, she'd won Blockbuster, or she had her extra veto that one week. So that was the only time she had lost the Blockbuster, and they didn't vote her out. They voted Jimmy out, of all people. Jimmy, who wasn't gonna be super hard to get out in the future. Like, that was stupid. So maybe even if Rachel had been on the block, they wouldn't have been smart enough to take the shot. But I obviously didn't want her on the block, so I was happy when she wasn't. Not gonna lie, I was very satisfied that Rachel was not on the block on Monday. So then it was like, between the scenarios, Kelly was an easy person to vote out. She had really been rubbing people the wrong way. It was Lauren's birthday, and this became such a bigger deal than it needed to be. Like, it really wasn't a big thing. And it's like things like this where I'm like, Kelly is really, I've had an up and down relationship with Kelly. Me and Kelly are like the except not as extreme. I was gonna say we're the Keanu and Rachel. but it's not even that extreme. But like, Kelly bothered me, and then she had moments where I was like, I'm warming up to her, and now she's bothering me again. I think it's just, and I've said this many times, but it's like my biggest pet peeve in watching Big Brother is bad gameplay, and she just pisses me off as a player. And because of that, it really irritates me, because it's just like, there was a moment during Lauren's birthday dinner, and they did show this in the edited episode, but I remember when it happened on feeds. I saw this on Twitter. But during Lauren's birthday dinner, Ava says that they should go around and say a nice thing about each other and like the person next to them. And I don't remember who it was, but somebody was saying something nice about Vince, and Rachel in that moment is like, I need more wine. And Kelly makes this a big deal, as if Rachel was being shady specifically because it was Vince. And this was before nominations happened. And obviously Morgan gets upset at this because she's like, why would you throw Rachel? Like, it's like, it was really unnecessary. And it's like, even if you clocked that and you noticed it, it's like, you don't need to make things a bigger deal. It's like, and obviously it's different. It's not the same exact structure. But it's like, it reminds me of like people on The Bachelor who tattle, and it's like, why would you tattle in this instance when it doesn't involve you and all you're doing is bringing attention, like you're bringing yourself into the conversation, okay? Like, what you do is like, you do it subtly. She has no subtlety. It's like this unnecessary thing. And I also understand Rachel's like frustration, and I've even had this issue as a viewer where it's like, there's a shift in like new age Big Brother, and I do think that there's probably something to be said about like social media and people have always to some degree been aware of the fact that they're on a show. But I think with social media, people are really, they're not just playing to the TV, they're playing to social media and not getting backlash. And I think that there is a level, and I think this is also something to be said about casting, because I feel like if you cast the right people, there's a balance that you can have if you go into Big Brother where you're like, obviously I don't want to be disrespectful and mean, but it is a game and I'm fine with like lying and backstabbing and betraying people and like just not liking them and like not being nasty or mean or like taking it too far, but I don't have to like everybody in the house, you know? It's a game, we're competing against each other. I understand Rachel being like, I'm so tired of this kumbaya Big Brother, because it is annoying. And it's not even like they're all kumbaya, but they're also then like fine stabbing people in the back. Like, there is a very annoying, they're not playing very actively, and Rachel is like leaps and bounds ahead of them gameplay wise and perspective on the game and the way that they're approaching the game, that I understand the frustration of like, why are we going in a circle and complimenting each other? Like, who cares? We don't all have to like each other. Let's play Big Brother. I understand Rachel's approach, and it wasn't even like a shady, like it was such a nothing burger that became a big thing. And it's like, people already don't like you, Kelly. Like, why are you bringing attention to yourself and like putting your name in the conversation, especially when you're on the block? Like, just don't do that. It's so unnecessary. And then Rachel doesn't want to hug Kelly, and it becomes this thing where it's like, that was mean. And it's like, she wasn't even mean. I'm sorry. She was like, I don't want to hug. And then Kelly's like, Rachel was so mean to me. I'm like, she wasn't mean. She doesn't want to hug you. You're literally proving her point and her frustration about the whole kumbaya Big Brother thing by taking her not hugging you as like an affront, when people used to like each other's faces to be like, I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't want you in this house. Because she's right. It's like a level of fakeness. It's not like you genuinely love each other and everybody just gets along. There's a level where it's like, Rachel recognizes and she knows that people are like saying shitty things about her behind her back, and then when we're together, like kumbaya, we all like each other. Like, no, I don't like you, you don't like me, let's not pretend we like each other. So I understand what she's talking about, where it's like, Kelly wants to hug her. She and Kelly are not aligned. Kelly would come for her in a heartbeat. So why is she gonna hug Kelly? She doesn't want to hug Kelly. I understand it. And that is the annoying thing about the kumbaya, like, fake Big Brother, where it's like, if you get along, beautiful, but, like, why do you have to pretend that, like, it's like a fakeness that is annoying? And I understand Rachel's frustration, and it became a big unnecessary thing. And it's just like, Kelly really just unnecessarily escalates things, and, like, and she's used the word, she instigates, and, like, she's very proudly talked about like being the reason shit is stirring the pot. So it's like, okay, you're a pot stirrer, then why are you acting like whatever? Anyways, so like the nominees were Kelly, Catherine, and Ava. And Kelly was obviously the person I feel like that would be the easiest person to vote out. A lot of people she was rubbing the wrong way. And also she's a good competitor. There was a bit of like buildup of like maybe Catherine will go. I don't really know. I honestly forgot that Ava was on the block because I wasn't worried about Ava literally at all. And maybe I should have been. But like I genuinely wasn't even worried about the outcome because I was like, I don't see a way that Ava goes home. Like I really was not even worried about Ava going home. So I genuinely forgot she was on the block because in my mind she wasn't even an option to go home. But it seemed like Kelly would go home. However, unfortunately, and again, this is why I say that I was like low-key a casual, because I have to be honest that I do not know the ins and outs of like the strategizing and who was a name for who and whatever. I don't really know. So I'm breezing past a lot of this and I'm very sorry. And I know I said in my last episode that I would like catch up. I'll do that for real this upcoming week. I had planned to, but then as I've said so many times, I genuinely, like when I recorded the podcast episode, I was like very fresh off of everything that happened. And I was like, you know what, it's fine. I'll catch up this week. I'll be better. And then it really hit me, you know. So I didn't catch up this past week on feats, to be quite honest. But I'm getting my bearings a little bit. I do anyways. So I'll catch up on some like live feed recaps for like days I missed, and I'll gather any important things that I feel like I really want to touch on, especially things that impact the weeks that go forward. If something that was established that I had missed comes back up, I'll try to bring it up. So I'm really sorry if I'm breezing past the week. I imagine that people who listen to these keep up with the show and just want to hear my opinion. So if you only listen, I really doubt that. There's no way people only listen to my podcast. This is just my thoughts. But anyways, I try really hard, but I do have a full-time job, and I have, sometimes life happens and sometimes something like really sad happens and you just lose your bearings or whatever the phrase is. But anyways, so on Thursday, unfortunately or fortunately, depending your perspective, Kelly wins the Blockbuster. And it's just like, this is why I don't like Blockbuster, because it's like there's no good reason why somebody who doesn't win the veto, who people don't like the thing is, and I saw a TikTok where somebody said this, and I couldn't agree more, where it's like Kelly's not playing Big Brother. Big Brother at its core is a strategy game. It's a social game. And Kelly, the fact that she keeps like upsetting people and like not being good socially and like genuinely for fun, like I think what bothers me about Kelly, and I've said this before, is just like, it's fine if you're like not a good player or whatever. It's just like Kelly is just throwing caution to the wind and is just trying to do the craziest thing ever with no like real strategic plan or like method, or like it just bothers me because I feel like there are people who like really, really dream of playing Big Brother, and it just feels like Kelly's like just there to have fun and like YOLO and like do the craziest thing ever. And it's just like, it feels disrespectful to the structure of the game. But I also don't fully blame her when like the structure of the game has changed in a way that I feel like is really disrupting a lot of the stuff that I love about the game, like the strategy of it, where it's like, I just don't think somebody should be able to save themselves as many times as Kelly has saved herself. Like, it's annoying to me. And it's very annoying to me, and it's very stupid to me, and I'm literally never going to forgive them for it, that they had the opportunity, the one time that Kelly didn't win a Blockbuster, they voted Jimmy out of all people. Like, Jimmy? It's not like it was Kelly versus Keanu. It wasn't like either way, you get a comp beast out. It's like, anyways. So it was between Kat and Ava, and I wasn't really worried, but it was 7-1. The one vote to evict Ava was Lauren, which Lauren was worried about being on the outside, like being on the wrong side of the vote. But I honestly think, and maybe I'm wrong, but Lauren is so like unassuming, and like I really don't think that it's gonna bite Lauren at all, like in the ass at all, that she ended up voting to evict Ava. Like, I don't think Ava's gonna hold it against her. It was 7-1. Ava stayed. Ava, of all the people to vote against, honestly, I feel like is probably one of the best people. I mean, especially if you're Lauren, because it's not like you've ever done anything to Ava. And I feel like Ava can empathize and understand that, like, that was, like, her closest friend in the house. And I don't think Ava's going to hold it against Lauren. I don't really know. We'll see. If it'll really bite her in the ass. But, and interestingly enough, and the reason I say interestingly enough is because going into week 8, it feels like something changed, and maybe I'm wrong, but it really caught me off guard the way things were going in week 8, because Vince and Keanu, like, Keanu obviously was mad at Vince for nominating Kat instead of nominating Rachel, and it was like, and they showed this in the edited episode on, like, Thursday's episode, where Keanu's like, there's something about Vince that, like, I'm gonna ride with him. I really trust Vince. So it was all very, anyways, because spoiler, this episode will probably go out before the HOH results. Like, this episode will probably go out after the HOH episode goes live. Maybe if I really if I get into a good groove, I can edit this and get this out for Sunday. But it'll probably be out Monday. Just, knowing myself. And so the HOH episode will have already aired, but Keanu won HOH, and I was like, okay, well, Vince is safe because for some reason he has some undying loyalty to Vince. But spoiler alert, another spoiler, Vince is not safe. Keanu no longer trusts Vince, and I'm like, I was caught off guard because I really thought that, like, he was just going to keep forgiving Vince. But, like, no, something shifted in him. There was a really funny moment on feeds on Friday where Keanu said to Vince, like, you going home would not be the, like, if worst case scenario for me. Like, if you go home, at least I know that means one of my allies won't go home again. Or something along those lines. Anyways, so that's where we end Big Brother 27 week 7. Sorry again for the condensed sequence of events. If I missed something, I apologize for not diving very deep. If there was some kind of campaigning that I missed between Ava, Kelly, and Catherine, I apologize. In the edit, it appeared that there was some kind of, like, Rachel was maybe changing her mind and would want Catherine to stay over Kelly. I don't really know how long that lasted, because sometimes something happens and then that's the focus in the episode, when that was, like, a conversation for, like, the blink of an eye, but then the target really went back to Kelly or whatever. So I don't know how accurate that was. I really wasn't locked into feeds on Wednesday or Thursday, so I don't really know, to be clear. I have no idea. Sorry again for the lack of depth in my Big Brother coverage for the last couple weeks. I'm clocking back into feeds. I've been seated for this HOH, and I anticipate, I think Bachelor in Paradise is wrapping up this upcoming week, and then, which will be good, because then for the next few weeks, next week I'll have a similar structure where I'm gonna have 3 shows I cover. But then the week after that, it's just The Summer I Turned Pretty and Big Brother, so hopefully I can dive a little bit more deep into each of them. I mean, I haven't been talking about Bachelor in Paradise too long. I think I talked about it a little bit more this episode than I did last episode. But thank you so much for tuning in. It means a lot. Follow me wherever you listen to podcasts so you can get notified when I upload a new episode. Like and subscribe if you're listening to this on YouTube. My social media is linked down below, so if you want updates, most of the time I post on Twitter if something's late. But it's best to just be subscribed and have notifications on, because a lot of the times I'm not super consistent with posting updates or when episodes go live. I'm doing my best, but really I've been going through, I feel like I'm always going through something, but, like, whatever. My social media is linked down below, so sometimes I do post updates, but it's best to just be following me so you can get notified that way. You can also reach out to me, though, on my social media if you have any comments, concerns, feedbacks, critiques, all of that. If you've listened to a few episodes and you enjoy it, give a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to this, and recommend it to a friend. Do whatever you do to share a podcast you enjoy. It means a lot to me if you tune in. Thank you, and I hope you have a great week. And as Julie Chen always says, love one another.